Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone, once more. I'm happy that you are listening my talk, or will be, maybe. My talk is a little bit meta-theoretical. I'm not biologist, also I'm not semiotician, I'm philosopher. And so it's some kind of meta-theoretical reflection of biosemiotics. And I try to elaborate this or think about it using two semantic approaches which I found in contemporary biosemiotics or code biology. And these are a little bit extreme or one to another complementary, and it's Barbieri's view of semantic view of evolution and his originic codes, and Claudio Rodriguez's view of some kind of metaphysics of biosemiotics as a basis for some kind of semantic in biosemiotics. So we can ask quite simple question: what biosemiotics is, how we can think about it, if it is a science or it is a part of humanities. If we ask if it is if we say that it is a science, we should find its methodology, ontology, and axiology. It's some kind of triad which is something ordinary for all sciences. And if it's a science, we can ask if it is a kind of alternative to biology. If it vote to redirect biology, because in the beginning, one of the beginnings of biosemiotics is this semantic view of evolution and some revolution in biology. And then we can ask, there's the theory. If we can find some concise conceptual space which everybody believes or which everybody respect, that it is a common conceptual instrumentarium of biosemiotics. And if we can say that, for example, some kind of a theory of sign is such a theory for biology, then we can ask where are these predictions and explanations which could be inferred or which we believe should some theory take with it. And if we can say that this whole new view of living nature is a new explanation of life through this sign nature of living beings, then we can ask where are these applications, if we can use it for something specific, how to help in our society, for example, or how to make some progress in biology. So this is a question if we say that biosemiotics is a science, but maybe it's a kind of philosophy of life with plenty of concepts which are very interesting and we can think about. For me, it's important to ask where belongs biosemiotics in this view of disciplinarities of science. I think biosemiotics is somewhere on the boundary between cross and post-disciplinarity, and to be a cross-disciplinary scientist is something like use various concepts from various fields and build something new, to build some original theoretical structure and, for example, incorporate it in some existing field of science, or to build new discipline. But there is some danger to stay a post-disciplinary scientist or post-disciplinary researcher, where these concepts from the original fields are used only metaphorically, and there is some kind of system of belief and not the system of some knowledge on the theoretical level. I would like to recommend one interesting book about this topic. It's Stephen Callard's Borrowed Knowledge, which is concerned with conceptual borrowing in the case of dynamic systems theory. And it's interesting theoretically on the basis of an analysis of the dichotomy of context of discovery and context of justification in philosophy of science since the time of Popper and then Kuhn. And he says that there is some kind of context of pursuit where these models, various models and conceptual systems are struggling and fighting together, and then there is some kind of a new discipline or new theory which could be based on this interaction of models and conceptual systems. And cross-disciplinarity could be the most important part of this, because we need these various concepts from another field. And Clark is asking if we are using them as a metaphor or analogy or as a literally the same concept as it was in the original discipline or original theory. And he said that we can use or borrow the separate concepts, but it's not enough. We should use everything what belongs to them, because, for example, when he's talking about this dynamic systems theory, when we are using the terms without its mathematical formalisms or with the framework which belongs to them, then it's only metaphorical or maybe analogical. But it's still not enough. If we want to have a really new original field and new original discipline or theory, we need to take these concepts with all their commitments and to borrow this whole inference scheme. So we have to be able to take some theoretical statements and infer from these theoretical statements some new theoretical statement in the new field. And then maybe we can say that we are the winners. We have this cross-discipline established. And we have plenty of examples from history of science. I think that cross-disciplinarity is present in every case of scientific discovery and evolution and development of science. For example, molecular biology we can conceive as a situation when information theory crosses biology. For example, memetics was not such successful when molecular biology crossed psychology. It is mainly some kind of inventarium of our museum of old ideas. And we can ask, what about biosemiotics when semiotics crosses biology? We can say that concepts are here used with all necessary equipments. We are listening about science, language, interpretation, maybe subject of semiosis, umwelt and innenwelt, and plenty of concise semiotical terms and the concepts which are connected with these terms. And we can ask if we are using also these concepts with all their commitments, if we can make these theoretical statements and make this inference from these statements and base the theory. Because can we say that science are something like symbols, like in a Persian semiotic, or the DNA transcription and translation is something like interpretation, and that organisms are something like parallel, or we think that it's the original and literal meaning of this, like in the semiotics. And of course, it's a little bit crazy question, because this is the very goal of biosemiotics, is to deal with this. But I think that we can find two examples, as I said, in Barbieri's and in Claudius' research, how to make some kind of redirection of biosemiotics. It's Barbieri's semantic view of evolution and the other books which he wrote in next years. And I think that we can take some lesson from his writing, that and then biosemiotic will be science again, because it will be still the part of biology. And we can use this Claudius' view about the place of semantics in biosemiotics and in his guess to find the connection between physics and semiotics, and then we can say that this concepts could be conscious in this philosophy. So we can establish biosemiotics as science, or as this kind of philosophy of life. Here are some quotations from Barbieri. I think that this book from 1985 was very big event in these days, because it has a foreword written by René Thom, and I think that Karl Popper writes some review about this book. And Barbieri, for me, is most interesting the next quotation, which I go to it because I have not enough time. I want to spend it for discussion. here he says in the very end of this book, when he used this very nice sentence that life is the language that nature learned to speak on our planet, and then he writes, the second difference is that information and the carrier of information are separate in a language, while in life they are one. When the nucleus sends a messenger RNA to the cytoplasm, the messenger is the message. It is as if nature writes the word apple, for example, and then the word folds itself up and becomes a real apple. This deep unity of structure and function gives a material reality to life that does not exist in the abstract world of a language, and makes it difficult for us to realize not just that life has a language, but the more subtle idea that life is a language. So it is this identification or the identification semantics with the code structures, and I think that it's one direction that's very interesting, and we can go back to the very origin of semantics in metamathematics and in these ideas of Gödel and Turing and von Neumann, and we can really conceive semantics in this view. But we have also the other variant, Claudio's view about this metaphysics of biosemiotics, and I think that Claudio's texts are quite hard, full of ideas and of inferences and of arguments, and I have a little bit of headache because it's really very complex writing, and he's using original concepts from analytical philosophy. He tries to use non-reductive physicalism, and he's then using this p-semanticity, which was elaborated by Petty, and it's very interesting. But I think it's the case when we are doing biosemiotics like metaphysics of analytical tradition. But why not? Because I think that we can teach two important things from this writing of Barbieri and Claudio. The first is that maybe, as Barbieri says, we should go back from the humanities to science, and not to use biological examples in the case of semiotics, but use semiotics concepts in the biology originally. And Claudio says that maybe we should a little bit enrich the inventarium of our ideas taken from humanities, because why we shouldn't take, for example, something from the semantic tradition in analytical philosophy, where we are talking only about pairs, where we are not talking about Frege, where we are not talking about pairs like logician, but only semiotician, why we are not talking about this iconic logic with the connection with symbolic logic, and so on and so on. And I thank you for your attention, and this is the end.
Very good. Thank you so much. You came in under time and with a lot of time for discussion, which is good because you raise a lot of big questions for us to discuss. Now, there's been a lot going on in the chat, so I can't see what refers to this talk and what doesn't. So let's start with, if Lukáš, if you bring back the screen, I can see who wants to volunteer a comment. Okay, and the first hand up I see is Kalevi.
Very good. So why not to choose the third way, in between? It seems to me that that's just the aim of many of biosemiotics.
Maybe you are right. I cannot. I don't mean. I cannot conceive this third way. Maybe something which is not science and is not humanity or humanities. Some field of humanities and something in between.
Yeah. What exactly puts these together?
What puts this together?
Yeah.
I don't know. Human activity.
Okay.
No, tell me. I would like to know, because maybe something which I'm missing completely.
Just to make a synthesis between this more humanitarian and more scientific. So also in the methodological, philosophical, in many relations. So that means not to go towards science nor towards humanities, but just taking from both to make something in between, the third.
Okay, thank you. I will read more texts and I will find it. Oh, thank you.
Is there another comment here? Irina, your hand is still up. Is that supposed to be up?
Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just it's a very interesting idea that you mentioned the name Frege. The fact that I followed semiotic definitions in the previous century, and it appeared that semiotics and semiotic triangle was called without names. And if they were published in Europe, it was Frege always. When they were published at the time, like worldwide, it was Perse always, but later on, the Perse name started to be very popular. And it take a kind of a push but at the same time, it's quite understandable because the idea of inserting a person, inserting just the user, just revolutionized everything. The only thing is that how this user is being used. Is it the user and only relationship to the environment? Or is it the user to the environment and social environment is something different? And this, in this way, social means community environment. So when we go to biosemiotics, it's just the same. We are speaking about social environment as community environment, community stays. And so if we double the person, the subject, the user, it starts to be a double environment. And then its idea that subject is subjective doesn't go, because there is an element of subjective and objective in the subject, and the same in the object, an element of subjective and objective. So this doubling goes further. So like one doubling is good, and then another one and another one. It's just like a computer work. So you always go somewhere to the right or to the left. Only new types of computers just suppose that we can go different paths, and several of them are right. Thank
Lucas,
you.
would you like to comment on that?
I think it was nice. Yes, when we take Begriffsschrift, we can find a way of iconic logic in Frege's writing. But we are thinking about Frege like a symbolic logician and about Peirce as an iconic logician. But they were both of them. And maybe at one reply, as Kalevi said, I don't think that it is if we take a dead science and or dead humanities. I think that, as I said, Barbieri's and Claudio's view or these ways are very fruitful and interesting for. I'm only not able to conceive this third way. Maybe I don't know.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll just say a comment here, Lucas, if I may, since no one else has a comment. You raise a very important and critical point about responsibly using borrowing from other fields. And the issue will always come down to, I think, at what point must you release yourself from those fields' commitments and inferences, right? Barbieri himself, as you say, remains steadfast in certain commitments to certain procedures and inferences of science. And yet for semiotics, maybe not so much, right? In analytical philosophy, perhaps that's a good logic for a lot of things. Is it the logic of life? Perhaps that's where you have to part. So I think absolutely unbridled promiscuity, well, I endorse it as a lifestyle, is not really the way to build a philosophy or a science. But perhaps what we're trying to get at when trying to understand life is actually so different from what those commitments were originally, founding science, founding analytical philosophy, that we have to explore a kind of an area where we willingly, but I think we should explicitly say which of the commitments we are refusing or challenging.
Yeah, thank you.
But really great points, and I agree. I think the Marcello's 85 book is a very good read for everyone. Okay, so thank you very much. That was a very, very nice talk. As